Hey guys, it's Eliza. For today's video, I'm gonna be doing a little girl talk. A lot of the questions that I'm gonna be answering are based on my experiences, what my mom has taught me, and literally like my sex ed classes. And I also did a lot of research behind a lot of these questions so I could fully give you guys a accurate like kind of answer. I asked you guys to give me some topics or questions that you guys wanted me to touch on for this girl talk, and I got quite a few and I wrote them all down, and I also did like some little self notes for myself, so if I keep looking down it's for my like notes and stuff. But let me just say, a lot of these topics are going to be very touchy for some of you guys. You guys might get a little grossed out if you guys are not used to a lot of this like TMI kind of, so I highly recommend not watching it, or you can just watch to your preference. I'll put all the little times that I change it to a different topic. Before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you guys haven't already. It means so much if you guys subscribe. And yeah, let's get into this video. Lay back down, grab a snack, you know, just get comfy. We're gonna have a one-on-one girl talk. So this topic was actually asked a lot, and I personally am gonna be talking with experiences because I am currently in a relationship. You guys asked me for a lot of boyfriend tips or like how to tell your parents and stuff. So the first question I got was, how do I tell my mom I have a boyfriend? It's really up to you when you're ready to be like, okay, if the guy is really staying with you and you guys are like looking at a very like serious relationship, I feel like that's when you should take it to your parents and be like, you know, talk to them, you know, tell them that you're dating someone or that you're like getting to know someone, whatever the case may be. Just sit her down, talk to her, and like be very open with it. You know, if she gets mad, but at least you told her. And I personally told my mom the same day that I started talking to my boyfriend, just because I'm very open with my mom, and my mom was super close to my boyfriend, so it was kind of like a thing I had to do because my mom notices everything. But I also told my mom and like a lot of my family members, because I knew that my boyfriend was gonna be like a very serious relationship. I knew it wasn't gonna be like little games or anything, because I've known my boyfriend for like over a year now, so I knew that once dating him it was gonna be like serious. And especially because we had a friendship before that, I just knew like, okay, like we've been friends for so long, we're not just gonna ruin it and like try to talk for a little bit. Just so she can trust you, you should really sit down and talk to your mom about that. The next question I got asked is, when can I have a boyfriend? Having a boyfriend is really up to you. You know, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it like when your friends are like dating or anything. I personally think you should start dating when you feel like you're fully mature and to go into like a relationship and keep it serious. You know, a lot of like the now relationships are very like childish. I don't know, it's kind of like a 1 week thing. You know, I personally don't think that's like the best to get in a relationship if you feel like in your gut like, oh, me and this guy are not gonna last or anything. You know, whenever you're ready and you feel like you're mature for a relationship and you can handle it, then I feel like that's when you should have a boyfriend. And also I feel like you should physically and mentally like love yourself. Like once you start loving yourself, you can love other people, because you cannot love someone if you don't love yourself. Having a boy over. Now this topic could be very different for many situations, many different parents. Personally, my parents are very open letting my boyfriend come to my house and stuff, but when I first had my first boyfriend, I actually asked my grandma, because I live with my grandma. My grandma's very Mexican grandma, so it was kind of like a very scary asking, and it can be very scary, but you have to be very open. If your parents let you date and you are wanting your boyfriend to come over, I simply just literally I went into my grandma's room and I like sat with my grandma, and I was like, you know, I've been talking about this guy for a while with her now, and I was like, you know, me and him want to hang out, and I was wondering if he can come over. And like I told her, like, you know, we'll be in the living room, we'll be, you know, if anything, like we'll just be hanging out, like we just want to hang out and stuff. And you just really have to listen to your parents as well, because your parents are gonna be like, oh, but like, you know, I don't want you to be doing this, that, blah, blah, blah. You have to be very understanding that your parents don't want you to be doing certain things when you have guys over. But personally, when you have a boy over, I highly recommend just talking to your parents. Really, for all of this, it's gonna be a lot of communication, because communication is key with your parents. Just because you know, you should be very open about it. You should just talk to them. I personally went through a lot of that, like where my parents used to get mad at me every time I asked for something, or like ask them a question like about a topic like this. And you know, I would get very like frustrated and I'll cry and stuff, but I will make sure I talk to my parents. I'll be like, you know, like I'm growing up, I'm gonna be going through a lot of these things, and I really need you guys to like understand where I'm coming from. And it's really hard because a lot of parents are like very strict on that, but they have to understand that like we're all teenagers. But it's always the best if you just try and communicate with your parents as much as you can. I saw a couple of these questions and it like I had to say it. So it says, how do you tell your boyfriend you don't like him touching you a certain way? You know, I know a lot of you guys don't feel comfortable your boyfriend touching you here and there, and I personally think that you should like really seriously talk to him. It's not a joke to be touching you. If you don't feel comfortable, I personally think you should like be like, hey, you know, don't touch me there, I don't feel comfortable. Be very serious about this because this is a very serious topic. You should not feel pressured, or you should not feel like a guy needs to be touching you there to have a serious relationship or anything. You want to make sure you're fully comfortable and that you guys have respect for each other. Respect is very, very, very important in a relationship, and I feel like if he's touching you a certain way that's making you feel uncomfortable or you don't like it, you should really stick up to it and be like, hey, you know, don't touch me there. Like, get mad about it, show him that you don't feel comfortable, tell him you don't feel comfortable. Because personally, if a real guy that loves you for being you, that loves you no matter like the sex part or like the touching parts, he's really gonna understand that you feel uncomfortable, and he will totally understand. If the guy is like, oh, why aren't you letting me touch you there, like why, and he gets mad about it, I personally see it like as if a guy's using you, and I don't think that's good. Like, I feel like you should just stick up and be like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you touching me that way, can you please respect me just like I respect you. It's not always good for a guy not to show respect, because respect is very, very important in a relationship or like dating or whatever. This next topic was kind of hard for me to like, you know, talk about, just because I haven't experienced any of these things. I'm a virgin. I don't know anything about like, you know, how it feels to lose your virginity or anything. I'm a virgin, so like I can't really talk about like my experiences behind these topics, but I'm gonna answer some questions that I've like known just because like my parents have told me, or that my friends told me, or like Google and stuff. I did a lot of research. So the first one is, can you get pregnant even if using a condom? I learned this in sex ed. You can't get pregnant using a condom when having sex, but there's always a little thing that can happen. The condom can rip, and if the condom is expired, I believe it's something in sex ed, like you hold up a condom and like you have to like see if like the bag has air, then it's like a good condom to use. But if you can't feel like air between it, then it's not safe to use a condom because it's probably expired. Using a condom is safe, but it's not very like, oh, you can't get pregnant. There's always that possibility that the condom can rip. It could already come like ripped in the packaging and you guys don't even notice it. You know, there's always that possibility, so you always have to be very cautious about it. But if the condom is good to go, if it doesn't have rips, you always have to check. This next question was asked so much. It was like probably one of the most asked questions, I believe. But this question is, when is the right time to lose your virginity? Now I'm gonna give you guys my opinion. You know, a lot of you guys have different opinions, and I personally don't think there's an appropriate age. I believe, yeah, you know, you shouldn't be doing it when you're super young. Yeah, you shouldn't be having sex at an early age, but I fully believe that once you're like 15 and older, like it's really up to you. And even if you're having sex right now and you're super young, just be careful. Like, honestly, just be careful. You know, there's always protection, there's always something you can like protect yourself from. You should have sex whenever you're fully ready. Like, if you still have like the little thoughts like, oh, like I'm scared, I'm gonna get pregnant, I'm gonna have this, like I don't think you should be having sex. Have sex when you're fully ready, when your body's fully ready. To answer your question, the right time is whenever you're ready. Like, I might sound a little like, you know, like, oh yeah, go have sex right now, like yes, go do it. I hate the word losing your virginity, because you're not losing it, you're giving it. Like, I hate it that people are like, oh my god, you're losing your virginity. why? No, you're not losing it. You're not like oh yes, I'm gonna lose. Like, it's so sad how like guys like see girls different when they lose their virginity, and I don't think that should be like it. And you're not losing anything. Yeah, you know, that happened. You're giving something that means a lot to you, probably. You know, I know for a lot of girls maybe it doesn't mean a lot, but I know there's a lot of girls out there that your virginity like means a lot to you, just because, you know, you're giving it up to someone that you like are fully comfortable with. The next topic is periods. So, you know, this is something that every girl goes through. Every girl should be very open about this. If you guys have any tips about any of these topics, honestly, just leave them down below. You know, help a girl out how not to stain yourself. So I really recommend changing every 2 hours, or when you feel like you need to. I personally change about every 2 hours depending on how bad my flow is. If my flow is like very heavy, I change about like every hour or two, just to keep it safe, especially if I'm at school. Like, I'm very like scared like getting stained or anything. And also the pads I use are very good. I use the heavy flow. I really recommend these because I feel like it gives me more comfort, just because heavy flow, you know, you can wear these even if you're on light flow. These are very good pads for that, because if you have light flow, you can wear this pad up to like 3 hours. Probably is like the max you can wear them. I try to change up like my pad every 2 hours, depending, like I said, on my flow. So I highly recommend some of these pads. I get the heavy flow. I know there's some other ones like extreme heavy flow or something like that. I've never leaked ever since I started using these. These are very good. How to tell your mom that you started. If you guys haven't watched my first period story time, I have the link down below, so you guys can go ahead and watch that. But when I first had my mom, like, I was crying. I was so sad. Like, I was like, why did I start my period? I was so sad. Whenever you want to talk to your mom, and especially this, because every girl goes to it, and obviously your mom's gonna understand, you know, at one point you're gonna get your period. I feel like you should be very open. You should not be afraid or uncomfortable to talk to this about your mom. You know, just be like, you know, mom, I started my period. Like, your mom will totally understand. Your mom, you know, went through that when she was getting her period, so she's not gonna like be like, why did you start your period, and slap you. Like, it's something every girl goes through. It's normal. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you start your period. What to do when you have bad cramps. So I usually, when I had bad cramps, I recently started getting cramps when I turned 15. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's like my whole cycle changing now. But ever since I turned 15, I had been getting cramps. I used to not get cramps, and last month was literally one of the worst months that I've gotten cramps. I highly recommend heating up a little towel, making it nice and warm, and then putting that onto your stomach, and, you know, just lay down and put that on your stomach. It's really good for you. And personally, when I do this, they go away, or they're not as bad, and I feel so much better. You can also get a heating pad, but if you don't have a heating pad, just get a little towel. I just put water on the towel, heat it up, and then put it on my stomach, and I feel so much better. And then I also take 2 pills. I take the 𝔬𝔲𝔮𝔮 I think that's how you say it. These pills are super good for cramps, and they really help. I've also tried the ones from Mexico. The ones from Mexico work wonders. If you are able to go to Mexico and get pills from over there for your cramps, I highly recommend them. They're super good and they work really good. I feel like they work better than, like, you know, any of these, but they do the job. Like, these do the job as well as the ones in Mexico. But I feel like antibiotics from Mexico work so good, and I don't know if it's illegal to pass them over if you don't have a prescribe. But, you know, I always recommend, you know, going to Mexico if you have the chance to get some antibiotics for your cramps or anything, because they work good. And some tips to prevent cramps is, don't be barefooted. So when you get your period, like, my grandma has always told me to not be barefooted, walking around the house barefooted when I'm on my period. It can be very bad. I did some research and it says you can't walk barefoot, you might get cramps. So it's a really, like, possibility that walking around barefooted, it could cause you to get cramps. So I really recommend, you know, not walking barefooted. If you didn't know already, don't walk barefooted. You can get cramps because of that. And I also recommend staying away from salty foods, any like lemon foods, chile, you know, like spicy foods. It's always good to take care of yourself when on your period. Is putting a tampon losing your virginity? I did some research and it says no. Tampons work just as well for girls who are virgins as they do for girls who had sex. But even though using a tampon can stretch or tear, it does not cause a girl to lose their virginity. It may take some practice putting in a tampon for the first time. I personally don't use tampons because I'm so scared to use them, but no, they do not take your virginity. I've always heard that they don't, like it's normal to use tampons even if you're a virgin or not a virgin. It doesn't take your virginity. So this question is not really about periods, it's more about discharge, and the question is getting discharged every day normal? Also, another question was that white thing on my underwear, should I wear a pad when I see the white thing on my underwear? And no, the white thing is basically discharge. It's totally normal for a girl to get it. A normal discharge is usually clear or milky and may have a scent that is not unpleasant or full smelling. It's also important to know that vaginal discharge changes over the course of a woman's cycle. It's totally normal and it's important, you know, like, you know, it does change over your cycle. Now, if you are getting a lot, I also did a couple research on this. So I asked a question which was, why do I have so much vaginal discharge? And it says increased vaginal discharge can be caused by normal menstrual, I don't know how to say that word, cycle changes. So it could be totally normal, you know, it's not bad. I did some research for the infection, so you most likely should get checked up if you have discharge which is green, yellow, or gray. So if it's any of those colors, then it could be an infection. Just make sure to get checked up. So the last question for this topic is, what are the big clumps in your period? It's perfectly normal to notice some clumps from time to time during your period. These are blood clots that may contain tissue. This tissue leaves the body as a natural part of the menstrual, I cannot say that word. Stupid. It's normal of the cycle. So clots of the tissue are usually nothing to be concerned about. So you shouldn't be concerned if you're getting these like chunks of blood. It's totally normal. So the last question for this topic is, why after my period ends there is brown things that last for a couple days or two? I personally go through this every time I'm on my period. It's completely normal, and I highly recommend getting like little pads. I highly recommend getting some liners. I accidentally got the thong ones, but they were good as well. But this is how they look. It's always good to have one of these because whenever you see like that brown thing, or it's like your last couple of days of your period, it's always good to use these. But the brown thing is basically a result of ovulation, which is a normal process. So it's completely normal after your period. When this happens, it happens when your blood comes into contact with the air. You may notice your period blood becomes darker or brown near the end of your period. Some women experience brown discharge for a day or two after their period ends. So this is completely normal. It's something like, you know, just kind of like letting you know. I kind of take it like a sign, like, oh, like I'm kind of getting off my period. When you wipe and you see brown, it's like, oh, like, you know, I kind of see it as like the blood is like drying out, and that's what it kind of means, like it has came in contact with the air or something. So when I have those kind of days where I just keep on wiping, it's like literally no blood, it's just brown, I make sure to use these liners. It's always really useful to use these. You don't really have to wear a big pad, it's really unnecessary. So really picking up some liners is really good. My last topic is shaving your best friend, your little homegirl down there. You're like, I don't know what to call it, like, you know, your vagina basically. Just a disclaimer, you don't have to do this. This is really up to you. If you feel comfortable, like, you know, shaving, you don't have to do it. It's not something like, oh my god, you have to shave your vagina. If you love it down there like that, leave it like that. Nobody should force you to shave it. It's really up to you. It's really not up to anyone. If you want to shave it down there, here are some tips. When I shave down there, I put a teeny tiny bit of conditioner. It makes it easier for me to shave. It's so much easier for me to shave. I don't know, ever since I started applying a teeny bit of conditioner and kind of like, you know, putting it before I shave, it's really easy, and the shaver goes in like nothing when putting a little bit of conditioner. I also recommend not using anything scented like body wash. It's not really good to be cleaning yourself with body wash. I know a lot of us girls, you know, we use body wash on our body, but I highly recommend to not use it on your, you know, your homegirl down there. Your vagina is a very sensitive spot. I highly recommend using an unscented soap. It's always good. You know, yeah, you might not smell the best down there with an unscented soap, but you're still keeping it clean, and that should be about it, you know. don't use anything like perfume. Like, don't put perfume down there. Don't put like anything that's scented. So this next tip is actually, you know, up to you if you want to do it. I personally have done it and it makes me feel like a baby's butt. Put a little of baby oil once you're done out of the shower and stuff. Put a little bit of baby oil once you're done shaving. It does reduce like shaving bumps. I get a little bit on my finger, like I get like, say like a tiny bit, and then I just rub it and it's so smooth. It leaves it like silky and like a baby's butt. I feel whole brand new. Like, also this is optional, but I do use 5-blade like razors. I personally like them a lot, and I also use men razors. Men razors, honestly, I love men razors. I do use women blazers, but only for like other parts of my body. But for down there, I usually use men razors or unisex. Unisex do the same thing, you know, I've noticed, but I only use them once. But I just always stick to men razors. I just like men razors. I feel like they're sharper or something. I don't know, I feel like it's easier to like, you know, get in there. Now onto like the whole like how to shave it down there. I wasn't really gonna go in depth just because this video is super long and it was gonna take a lot of time. If you guys want to see a very in-depth video which helped me when I first started shaving, you know, my little best friend down there, I really recommend this girl's video. I'm gonna have her video. She's so good in explaining, and honestly I took all her tips and I've been doing them. So a lot of the tips she mentions I have been doing, so that's why I give you guys the same tips as she did. But for the whole shaving, like how to shave it down there, she is really good at doing it. She knows, like she really explained it really good, and I've been shaving the way she like explained it. But I also have her link of the video down below so you guys can go ahead and watch her. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed. I hope you guys got something out of this, some tips for any of my other girls to have some tips for, because you know, girls helping girls. I really love filming these girl talks just because I feel so connected to so many of you guys. I hope that you guys find some use of it. I always have my Instagram username down below so you guys can reach out to me if you guys need anyone to talk to. Maybe you guys don't have anyone to talk to at home, you know, I'm always here. I will keep your guys' things private, especially like things like this. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.